All right, hey guys, welcome to the first Zoo podcast. After a lot of trials and tribulations of figuring it out, we got a pretty rudimentary setup. But I'm Doc J. I'm here with Chance. And Chance, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, background. So prior to the mill, I did a year of college. Just decided that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. Met a guy in Target, and he had a Ranger tab. It was just squared away posture, and sat down with him for a few minutes, and basically 2 weeks later, it shipped out for the military. Had no clue what I wanted to do. Did kind of an eeny, meeny, miny, mo when it came to picking a job, and somehow landed combat medic. No clue what that meant. Went to basic training. Found out that I had a tiny little black heart and loved to work out and loved the military. And they offered me a Ranger contract because I had the top PT score in my company. So it was like, sweet. I just want to be around the fewest amount of guys possible that were the most driven. So from there, went on, went through my job school, went through airborne school, got to Ranger NDOC, finished that. Then there was a big holdover for the Special Operations Medical course. Went to Ranger School, finished that, got back to battalion. Kind of got hated on for being this cherry. No deployment, no training cycle, Ranger tab specialist. From there, it was great. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot about leadership. You didn't just have to yell at people and be angry to get things done and get people that were working for you to work with you. So from there, finished SOCM, and that's where I really gained a passion for medicine. Before, it was like I felt like I would kill somebody if I went to render aid or treatment.
Yeah, from the basic Army medic school you go to, you just enough to kill somebody.
Yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. So I got to SOCM and really just, gained a lot of good friends in the SEAL community and the SF community, and really learned what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. And, at that point, you train so diligently and so thoroughly that when you actually go to provide aid, whether it was in the hospital rotations or on deployment, like, you see the impact that you had. So I gained a big passion for my job at that point. Coming to battalion, the previous senior medic before me was getting ready to leave, so it was like, here you go, take over senior medic spot. Roger.
Yeah, standard.
So jumped in that and just kind of hit the ball running. Like, I loved everything the battalion stood for, setting the standard by every day earning your keep. You don't just get your tab and then you can be a shitbag. It was wake up and fucking perform to standard every single day, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, or get our fest.
Yeah, like perform or get out. So went on my first deployment. Loved that. Had a couple junior medics that I was training up, and they were stellar. Just everybody in the Ranger community, that especially the medics that passed Ranger NDOC and passed SOCM, like, whether they treated casualties or not, I knew that they, based on their assessment and their training, could perform at the highest level. So got back from that deployment, did another training cycle, went through a tough time with marriage, whatnot. And that's kind of the reason I got out of battalion. Did another deployment, fucking badass mission. It was an awesome deployment. And just was around some stellar guys. And then fast forward, left the military, because my wife gave me the ultimatum. Separated 6 months later, divorced a year later, and ended up back overseas contracting. And I don't know what the fuck PTSD really is, but since leaving, I've kind of had my fair share of issues and trying to figure that out. And that's kind of what the zoo I felt like would be good for, is these like-minded individuals that get out of the military and, like, what the fuck? Why am I the minority? Why am I awesome but feel like I am the odd man out in this weird fucking new world?
Yeah, it's like you're going from having a family to being like the lone guy. That's kind of odd.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I kind of spilled my guts on my background. So yeah, your turn, Doc J.
so pretty much in a nutshell, I basically run in the same storyline you got. I actually served under Chance as a junior medic when I first got to battalion. Ended up being placed in different areas on deployment. With reverse that a little bit, except for I didn't go to Ranger School, don't have a tab, but I made it through RIP. Same community, SOCM, everything like that. Me and Chance were in the same company in Ranger Battalion, and he was one of my senior medics. Great dude. Always loved working with him. Can't say enough about him. Fast forward 2 deployments later, getting out, kind of having the same thing. Yeah, I didn't run into the divorce thing, but I kind of had the ultimatum I gave myself was, keep the wife happy or stay in, and getting out seemed like the thing to do. I was kind of the disgruntled service member at the time, I'm going to stick it to the man. I'm going to get out. I'm going to be that guy that shows him, and then you don't really realize, I guess, when you're in until you're out, how much the job means to you or how much the people around you mean to you. And you're thinking everything's going to be the same when you get home, not realizing, shit's different. You're different. And that, I think you hit on the head with the, what is PTSD thing? I wouldn't label myself as having PTSD, but do I have a reintegration issue? I'm pretty sure everyone does,
Yeah.
So I think there's the issue with that and getting out. I mean, it's really, when you think about it, you're changing your whole life. It's like you have, imagine going up to someone who's been doing, you pretty much have a 6-year degree or something, or you get a 4-year degree. You got your whole life going. You're in a job. You're secure. Your whole future is going for you. And then one day you come up to them and go, "Hey, you're going to leave everything you know. You're not going to be around anyone that you know anymore. You won't have any friends except for the people that you knew 6 years ago. And no one's going to understand your professional background. And you're going to need to find a job and become successful and start over again. Oh, and by the way, you're leaving in a month." And you just kind of lose everything, man. You don't think about it like that when you're getting out, but that's really what it's like. If you told a civilian that was going to happen, they'd be like, "Excuse me, what the fuck?" No, no, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know. I was driving from work today, and I was thinking about some different topics that came up, dysfunctional veterans versus I was dysfunctional before the military. And I'm driving through this fucking upstate New York college town, and I'm blaring Drowning Pool, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. It's what calmed me. I remember being in Ranger Battalion, everybody now is like, "Chance, why don't you smile? Chance, why don't you smile?" I would have got fucking the weirdest looks if I walked through Ranger Battalion smiling, I listen to Katy Perry, so I can't really use that as a reference, but some fucking happy-go-lucky music, is just smiling. What's wrong with you, buddy? Are you good? And so I'm driving through this town, mean mugging, I'm feeling good, I'm listening to Drowning Pool, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, nothing's wrong with me. And it's I'm getting all these weird looks, these people in their golf shorts and their Blythe fucking mentality. It's big truck and loud, angry music. It's what is something wrong with me? No, nothing's wrong with me. I'm fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my purpose with, really wanting to get the Zoo podcast going is there's got to be more people out there like me that get out of the military. Just hard chargers, love heavy music, love lifting heavy shit, love doing whatever they're doing to 100% and then some standard, and get looked at like they're crazy. Yeah, you're not qualified to flip a burger. What do you mean? I just fucking slammed a 5-hour and ran to a target 100 meters away a month ago. How am I not qualified to flip a fucking burger?
Yeah.
Somebody explain this to me. So I felt like there was a need for people to have a voice, to be able to listen in and just know that, you know, I don't know what the answers are. I hope the Zoo podcast can kind of be the connector of dots to resources to people that are struggling. Doc J, you don't mind if I get a little transparent here, do you?
No, not at all.
I mean, even for me, after leaving the mill, separated, divorced, ended up back overseas contracting. Not going to complain about that. That contract ended, and I found myself in Montana. How the fuck I got there, I don't know. It was like, I don't know what to fucking do. I'm just going to work out until I'm tired every fucking day. But as an unpaid gym trainer, you can't really sustain a life like that. So through some contacts, ended up contracting again, lost that job for a little bit, and got stuck in a relationship. Now, granted, fucking doing 3-day remained over day missions. You're going out, you know, target after target, night after night. Here's some modafinil to fucking keep you awake because, yeah, you need to stay awake, but your body's not going to physically be able to do it on its own. You can do this, but here's a relationship that fucking damn near cripples you. All right, well, who do I turn to? I don't have family. The military's gone. I don't have anybody in touch, so I'm going to turn to this bottle, fucking bullets, booze, and bullets. I feel like that's the biggest demise for a lot of us vets coming out. For me, that's what the case was. It's like, man, you know, like, I'm just going to drink and fucking numb this pain.
It's an easy thing to turn to. And I think that with the whole alcohol thing is everybody, when they get out that I know of, you take like a month and you're like, I'm going to fucking binge drink nonstop. And you just, you know, instead of just taking the torch and hit the ground running, you just take the time and just get fucking ripped for a month. Yeah. If not longer, and then you just keep doing it because that's what makes you feel better. Is you're just gonna drink and it just becomes a habit. It's fucking terrible.
And so, like, I hit that low point. You know, it was something stupid as much as a relationship going south. And I was like, man, you know, I'm not Ranger Davis anymore. Who the fuck am I? Like, what do I do? Do I turn my squad leader? Oh, there is no squad leader. What do I fucking do? All right, I'll just hit this bottle until I can figure it out. And I just got to a point where, like, dude, pick yourself the fuck up. Like, reach out to somebody. So I reached out to some contacts. And one thing I love about Ranger Battalion is in or out, fucking, we take care of our own. So I reached out to some contacts. I remember reaching out today, and you fucking helped out as well. And Chris Bemis on Facebook, you know, horses and sent a Ranger buddy out here to come and knock and, hey man, you good? No, I'm not good at all. I'm fucking full of bourbon like 10 minutes ago. All right, let's go for a meal. You're gonna go out with me, and we're gonna go turkey hunting in the morning and go fishing the next day. So he basically did what I'm hoping the zoo can do for other people. Be a resource, be a voice, be, you know, like I said, the connector of dots. And basically just made sure I was all right and let me know that I wasn't alone in my struggle. Whether he was struggling with me or not, he was going to be there for me. So I love that about the Ranger community, and I want to extend us personally, you and me both, you know, creators of the zoo, to be able to do that for other people.
I think that's something that's great that we have, that in the community itself is going on. I could reach out to people. I mean, and I know a guy in Florida who I'm pretty sure you know too. I'll leave nameless, but he had me on Facebook a while back when I was really struggling with fucking drinking and depression, and he pretty much let me know he was doing the same shit. And I didn't know him. He was on his way out when I was on my way into battalion. And we ended up talking about our issues. And I mean, just having one person to just really like relate to, because he was doing the same shit I was. And, you know, we check in, hey man, how you doing? You know, like how you handling the drinking? You know, you're still hitting a bottle a night. Like it's kind of crazy. But I mean, even dudes that were in, you know, 10 years prior, or, you know, even now, dudes that are probably getting out, you know, it's relatable. Dudes are going to look out after each other. The problem is you know, reaching out. Everyone's got a pride issue. That was my thing for a long time. When I got out, was like, you know, I'm not broke, and I'm not saying I'm broke now, but to it takes some balls to really reach out and go for something, and in the VA for a long time, despite all scrutiny, especially the Phoenix VA here in Arizona, I went through a 2-year process with them where just recently I got, some relief from the issues I was having that made me lose my job and everything. But it took 2 years to get there. But, you got to start that process. And, everything doesn't work the same. They might try and medicate you. If medication doesn't work, you got to find your own medicine to get your head right.
Yeah. And I'm talking to a guy that I work with. I'm currently contracting stateside 7 days a week, fucking 12-hour days. School and the podcast. But anyway, so this guy was a combat engineer, 10 years in the mill, got blown up. VA drugged him up, and now he's having to do dialysis to filter his system from the drugs they gave him. And we were just kind of talking about pride. For me, that was a big killer. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, platoon sergeant, I'm fucking feeling a little bit iffy about that last deployment. I don't know how to fuck to handle what went on. So me coming out of the mill, I'm not going to be like, guys that I served with, I'm fucking drinking a bottle of bourbon every night to fucking deal with my goddamn anxiety from this basic shit that I'm dealing with stateside.
Yeah.
Me not doing that, I just drug myself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole until I was like, man, it's been a week. I've been in this room in the dark drinking from like 8 in the morning to 2 in the morning. I need help. Like, so pride was that killer between seeking out help before it got too bad and beyond repair.
It's confusing too, because when I would be frustrated because I had 2 different jobs. I basically worked a desk job being an analyst at a hospital, and I would be sitting at work and my fucking heart would start jumping around in my chest and I would lose it, and I would just get up and leave work and fucking panic, like a full-blown panic, like thinking I'm gonna die. And I'm like, what? You're trained to run at bullets, you take fire, and like that never fucking bothered me. And then I'm sitting at a desk and you're telling me I can't handle that. Like, that is straight up confusing and frustrating as fuck to anyone that came from a military background where you are put in situations that are dangerous and you can't figure out how to hold your shit together or sitting in a chair staring at a computer screen. You know what I mean? Like that. And I didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating too. I mean, like the whole pride thing, like, are you kidding me? Like, I did all this shit and now I'm fucking sitting here and freaking out over a desk job.
Yeah. And like, I want to touch on guest speakers. Like, one of the things I thought about the zoo, like, all right, so there's all this veteran suicide, there's veteran struggles, like, and there's all these supposed resources that why.
Hey, you're breaking up, brother.
Can you hear me now?
You might want to move a little closer to Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yes. So there's all these resources, but the problem still exists. It's
still breaking up a little bit there.
Okay. So there's great articles being put out, Havoc Journal, OAF Nation, all these different resources putting out great articles. I don't have time sitting on my job to sit and read a 10-minute article, but I need the content. So I was hoping that the podcast in itself could become that resource where you're driving to work, you're listening to it. And I just want to say, especially for the VA issues, Paul Martinez, a sniper on my last deployment, I've been talking to him, and I definitely want to have him as a guest speaker to talk about his experiences with the VA. And Doc J, I'm sure you have a plethora of experiences with the VA. I'm just kind of now getting started into my claim process. I didn't really want to do it in the military. I felt like a shitbag for trying to do that. And so with that, I will say, if you were in the military and anything fucking gets wrong, make sure you get that shit documented.
Yeah, hands down. And that's a big thing with a claim or even getting care, because you cannot get. Sometimes you actually won't get free care unless you are at a disability rating, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or can you still go?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I had stuff documented, but for the most part, I tried to ranger up, and I felt like a shitbag being a medic. Like, oh yeah, I fucking tore my PCL in this land nav course, and didn't get it documented, and now I'm priced for it.
Yeah.
So if you have issues and you're still in the military, don't be fucking prideful. Get it documented. If it's something that you can push through on the mission, definitely push through, but get it documented afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. If it's not recorded electrically, even on paper, I mean, everyone's guilty of that, even from the medical side. From our perspective, I mean, we'd have dudes get their face gashed open in Afghanistan, or someone hurts their leg, and you go through all the rehab process, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, and there's no computer to document it on, and you're like, hey. Yeah, at the time when I was there, it's like, hey, you want me to write this down for you? And dude's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And you're like, okay, man. And like, I didn't realize how important that was, but I mean, now getting out and having to provide documentation of things that happen that if you're claiming are affecting you, like thank God I had, full documentation of the brain injuries and migraines that I was getting when I was in. So I didn't have that big of a problem with it. But I mean, if I didn't have that, I'd be fucked.
Yeah. So, Doc J, on a side note, I'm like, as we're podcasting, texting an old SEAL buddy from Stockholm, checking up, and he asked me how I'm doing. He's sending me pictures of his family. I want you just to, because the zoo was kind of your baby, and I just was like, yeah, I'm totally on board with that. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
I want you just to kind of tell the audience what your intent and mission is with the zoo, and obviously it's going to be an evolving enterprise based on the needs of the listeners and the people out there that are struggling. But what your intent was and your mission when you thought up the zoo.
So when I made the zoo, I was pretty much unemployed, sitting around. I was on disability from my job. Ended up leaving my job because I had been getting these migraines from a TBI complications, and I was missing 2-3 days of work a week. I had a stellar job, making great money, house, wife's happy. Everything I could have wanted. I remember when I got that job. I looked at my wife and I'm like, hey, we made it. Like, I'm making enough money to where you can go to school. We're good to go. Like, life was good, right? And shit just kind of spiraled out of control, and it partially probably in my fault, due to just fucking trying to find solace in a bottle, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But then the same issue with my migraines and everything like that going on, and I, had been sitting around for a while looking for just something, like you said, reading Havoc Journal, soft rep, listening to motivational videos online, trying to find something that I felt I could relate to. And it hit me, and I said, look, dude, I'm smart enough. I'll figure it out. I'm going to make a website where dudes can talk with one another, reach out if someone's struggling like I am, to at least let someone know they're not the only dude out there going through this shit. Yeah. So that was really the big thing. But I had no intent of the podcast going off when I first started that. It was more meant to be like a blog page, which seemed to work out all right in the beginning. But I was really having a hard time locking down people to write regularly. And I mean, even more importantly, it's me asking dudes that I knew from the community to write for free and just say, hey, whatever. And thank you for everyone that did. If anyone's listening or going to listen to this podcast, much appreciated. And we'll still pursue the blog avenue of it here and there, but we're really moving more towards a podcast, like you said. My outlook for the zoo is to have something that people can listen to, on their drive to work, on the way home from work, on the weekend. If you want to come home and put on something that you can relate to hear dudes talking about it. Like Chance said earlier, I want to have guest speakers on here. It's not only an outlet to hear us say shit, piss, and fuck and piss and moan. We want to bring on people from the VA, people that can really talk about successes in their business, what's working for them, people that can educate on TBI, brain injuries, that I know there's some really good resources with doctors and new treatments and things like that for avenues of people to pursue. And like you said, Martinez might be able to shed some light on what's working for him. So I really want that to be a good resource as well. For the podcast to be entertaining, but I also want it to be educational, and I want people to reach out and contact us if they're struggling, if they want us to talk about things, what they think issues are. I really want it to be a voice and, a sounding board for us in general, as veterans and people who listen to it. I would love for it to be a very interactive process.
Yeah. And with that being said, like, I think the listeners should know that this is definitely a selfless avenue that we're taking on. Both myself and Jarnigan, the website, the equipment, the cameras, the mics, the computers, all this stuff is our personal money going into this. So it's not some business venture that we're trying to make a profit off of. It's us struggling and wanting to help other people that are in the same situations as us. Side note to that, I'm trying to reach out to this lady in Colorado for medical marijuana for PTSD and epilepsy and seizures in adults. So if you have ideas, you want topics talked about, the best way to reach us specifically for the podcast is zoo75podcast@gmail.com. We'll take comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, complaints. Like I said, the zoo will probably be an evolving entity in and of itself. And we want it to be something that helps the people. So if you have recommendations, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you like to see done differently, let us know and we'll apply it as needed. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And hitting on the, looking out for people and making a community. I know you touched on it earlier. I'm not sure if the rate is still currently holds as it is 22 veterans a day. I was talking with Chance the other day while we were setting this up, and we had a friend who I'll let him remain nameless. Excuse me, if I can speak. But really keeping an eye on people. This was a guy that we knew in battalion, worked with. Great guy. He was on ops with you, right, Chance?
Yeah, fucking awesome, but fucking
crazy.
Wearing the point. Now, granted, if you didn't know anything about Ranger Battalion and you're a civvy or you're from a different unit or from a different branch, Ranger Battalion typically runs, 3-month deployments. But in that 3 months, you're running multiple missions in a night. That specific deployment that guy was on, you're running 3-day missions where you're going to a target, setting up a remained overday site, going to another target, just back to back to back, no fucking breathing room. To the point where here's some modafinil. It's going to knock out your drive to want to fall asleep. So you push past that 24-hour mark and you stay up and you hit another target. And while you're on your 1 hour of rest time during the day, oh yeah, by the way, we're taking contact, so put your gear back on and keep fighting. And you rest again the next day and you just keep going. So that shit wears on people. Not to mention, you have families back. Like, I was married at the time, fucking marriage broke apart. I'm struggling physically, mentally. So just very daunting deployment. And I'll let you finish, Doc J.
Yeah, I think to touch on that too, I'll jump back to that story real quick. But that shit doesn't seem to bother you when you're in, right? Like what you're talking about, the trying deployments, shit that goes on that doesn't seem to bother you. Because in my opinion, this is just my own theory, but you've got people go to therapy outside of, even you could get in a car crash and be a civilian and claim you have PTSD, and you probably do, and you're scared of cars the rest of your life, and that's one incident, right? So you get one incident where this guy's like had a traumatic experience, or a guy or woman, and that's an issue for them. Imagine fucking living that shit like over and over. And then, but your sounding board is your unit, the platoon. Everyone jokes about it. Oh shit! Like you see, we almost fucking died today, and it's funny, and you laugh about it. And then when you get out, who do you talk to now? You know, like, no. So that's what I'm hoping this kind of leads into. But back to the, our good friend that we know. After he had gotten back from deployment, dude's struggling. I kind of noticed some issues just because working with him, with the chow with him every day. Great guy. Started seeing him kind of sulk back in, turn into the bottle, be going out for morning PT. Dude's just like, nah, I'm not doing it this morning. I'm going to go back to my room. All right, cool. Let's link back up at 8 o'clock, get some chow. Got some chow. Dude's just not eating. And this goes on for a couple weeks, sitting there, and, we're asking him what's going on. He's just like, yeah, I'm not feeling right. I'm just so tired lately. And these are all telltale signs of depression. Dude's sucking. So I took it upon myself, go down to a provider. Honestly, and I thought about making this decision. I didn't want to rat him out, feeling like a bitch. It's not ratting someone out, but I made the decision to go down to the aid station and talk to the provider about it. Dude, provider links up with me, says, yeah, it sounds like he's completely burned out. We're going to put him on some leave. So 2 days later, dude's on a plane home, comes back. I think it's on probably about 2 weeks. Comes back. We're drinking one Saturday. Pulls me aside and he's like, hey, dude, you probably saved my life. Like, I was in a dark place. I was really thinking about fucking doing it, man. Like, I was not all right. And, I'm not trying to go on a stool here and say, oh, hey, man, look at me. I saved that guy's life. But keep an eye out on people. You got to, if you got a guy who's lurking back and he's not good, you're going to have to reach out to him and make sure that, you reach out and you make the first communication. Don't let them fall back into something where they're in like a year depression where they're hitting the bottle nonstop. You got to pull them out of that slump. So it's on you. You're the person who knows them best. So keep in contact, keep people close.
And like that was the thing that I loved about Ranger Battalion is the brotherhood. We take care of our own in every sense of the way, whether it was something you did and you fucked up and we smoked you for it and fucking cooked your ass, or I was talking to, so I'm contracting stateside right now, and one of the guys I'm working with is an 05. And we're talking about veteran issues and, why people in the military don't really have that much of an issue versus, the guy that did 4 years and got out and can't figure shit out on his own. When you're in the military, you have people that you can confide in. Hey, let's, band together, have team dinner on Friday and fucking debauchery on Saturday, and then go for a PT run on Monday morning. Well, once you get out, you're the minority. You might be this awesome stuff that has no college degree but could start a business up on his own, if you have the right resources, and be phenomenal. But being out of that military environment, you don't have that anymore. You're on your own. Whereas in the mill, you're around it constantly. You're put around resources and people that know you, understand you, and you're not the odd man out. Call to action right now. The zoo, we're looking for people in photography that can help us out. We want to do some images that would really speak volumes to the civilian crowd on what veterans that are dealing with their issues, what it looks like on an outside perspective. But for me, when I got out of the military, 2 weeks of block leave, 2 weeks back in battalion, and I was out of the military. I came back and sitting in North Carolina, poolside, bunch of families and kids playing around and I just got back from deployment, so I was a little bit fucking on edge, and I'm sitting at the pool, and I just remember like my pulse fucking was spiking. I could feel my heart rate just rise, and there was no threat. Like, this bunch of kids and families, and I just started freaking out physically. I had no physiologic control of my body. I did not know what was going on. I didn't have anybody, coming up with a KIA bracelet, putting his hand on my shoulder, like, bro, I've been there. You're good. I got you. Come over here. Let's fucking chat. I got you, man. And that's what I wanted the zoo to be, but I didn't really have that. And yeah, I just kind of went on a tangent. I'm fucking lost now.
Yeah, I get you now. I get what you're saying. It is kind of when you're in that situation and like you get out and you're on your own, like you said, you're in Montana, right? And you don't have anyone there. And I was the same way here in Phoenix, even though it's a big town. I didn't know anyone from battalion here to link up with regularly, fucking get drinks with on the weekend and let them know what was going on or have someone that was out a little before me. There's no guide on getting out of the fucking military. No one says, like, hey, when you get out, you might experience this issue or whatever, because no one's going to talk to you about it, especially in battalion. The way it was, you don't, even if you're struggling, you don't talk about it. And if you had a guy that was saying he had PTSD, dude, yet you would, if someone came up to me with that scenario, I would pull them aside and be like, hey, I would go seek outside help. Like, don't go down to the aid station because you might get scrutinized for this. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is, and it's a shitty way for it to be, but that kind of breeds, in my opinion, breeds the way that you choose to handle things when you first get out too. Is you're like, oh fuck, this is embarrassing. Like I was embarrassed, and for the longest time, I didn't fucking accept the fact that I had an issue. And I mean, even now, it's hard to deal with, but you kind of have to come to grips with yourself and fucking, are you gonna be man enough to handle it? And fucking, like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy that finds solace in the bottle nonstop and fucking the dude who used to be a fucking great warrior who's fucking jacked and has fucking good morals, or do you want to be known as just the guy who was something? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I was at, and where I'm still struggling to get out of. Get back to where I was, lifting every day, doing positive shit in my life. With the zoo, whether it's with my wife, jobs, still looking for jobs. It's still a constant struggle. I mean, it's something you got to really fucking dig down deep and figure out what the fuck you're going to do. Cause that's where it's at.
Yeah. And you touched on it with the story of, our buddy, another stud that I'm super proud of. You're around a community where people know you and they can recognize it as it's happening. When you're out of the milk and you're sitting in that dark room with a fucking stack of beer bottles and, a recycling bin full of bourbon bottles, there's nobody to get, hey man, you're not yourself. You're fucking drinking yourself through bourbon. Let's go work out.
Fucking recycling bin filled to the brim with cans and bottles. You got to run in a goddamn, like, recycling plant in your goddamn backyard.
Christ,
I'm telling you, I wheeled out my garbage can, big ass ones, like in a residential area, and I'm wheeling it out, and my neighbors are outside, and it's fucking jingling bottles and cans in it, and I'm just like, dude, these people gotta know that I'm just sitting in here just blasted all day, dude. And it was fucking embarrassing, dude. Like when I looked at it at one point, dude, I just had beer bottles all on my floor, and I'm like, my wife like walks in and she's like, what is this, And it's embarrassing, but it's just like you get to that point and you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what do I do?
Like, I know you can relate to this. I've seen memes about it, about, drinking all night in Ranger Battalion and then going on a PT run the next morning and being fine. But like, where it really hit me, it was in Montana, and it was around the anniversary of Jankowitz. Like, I had 3 shots of bourbon as soon as I woke up, went to the gym, smashed out a wad at the CrossFit gym, came back home and just repeated the process, drank, did another wad. You're a functional mess, more or less. Like, we learn to, in the military, adapt to these adverse situations and come out on top, complete the mission. But in the civilian world, like, I was a functional mess. So stupid and still putting on the happy face. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'll save that bullet for another day. Man, Doc J, I really want to fucking reach out to you to say that you and the rest of the resources in the Ranger community fucking did your part when it comes.
Hey, you're breaking up a little bit again.
Yeah, I'm fucking bouncing back and forth, animated. But yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of set on the introduction.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really, I feel, I hope you guys take away, listen to this. If you're struggling, not everyone's struggling, so people have different tolerances. You might have gotten out and fucking known where you were going. Maybe you were smart and got your degree while you were in, and you had shit handled, and your fucking life's going for you. But your job's not done in my eyes. Reach out. There's dudes who don't know what the fuck's going on, who don't know how to translate their skills into civilian life. Like, keep an eye out, dude. Always do good things. Fucking try and reach out to dudes and just make sure, in my eyes, doing something positive for the community. That's really what I want this to be, and get things going, in that direction. I'm tired of hearing, someone took their life today, whether it be someone who was in SOF, or, a regular Army guy. If you guys know people who served, I really want that to be, the main focus of this is for people to tune in and feel like they have a place again and can fucking voice their opinion. Send us emails, do whatever you can, reach us. We'll bring it up. We'll bring up topics.
So with that, some of the upcoming topics that I definitely want to do podcasts on: one, medical marijuana for veterans with PTSD, for, against, why and why not.
I think
VA
that's really
issues. I'm sure everybody has them. I'm still kind of new to that, so I'd love to talk about that.
That'll be interesting because I want to know, having been through the process, even though I'm still somewhat in it, but I'm towards the tail end where I'm just kind of on maintaining my appointments, and you're just picking it up. I think we need to keep a running discussion about this while you're kind of going through your thing, if you don't mind, and just let frustrations, what's going on. Like, have you called the VA 36 times yet and had no answer, or told to leave a message? Like this kind of thing. It'll be very interesting to see your experience versus my experience, and we can kind of relate to that too.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm contracting stateside, and I have a plethora of guys from the military, Marines and Army, from 3-4 years in the military to 25 plus years in the military. Ranger school specifically, the chick. Well, I'm not going to touch on that right now, but I definitely want to do a podcast, host of different guests to talk about that. Dysfunctional veterans, that term in and of itself, to do a test and evaluate that term, why or why not it should even be. The veteran that's not qualified to flip a fucking burger, but can, learn how to basically be a field surgeon in a matter of months.
Yeah.
To talk about veterans starting up their own businesses rather than, searching for months to get a job that pays $10 an hour. So those are some of the different topics, me personally, that I want us to talk about in upcoming episodes. But if you have topics that you would like to see talked about, like I said, email us at zoo75podcast@gmail.com, and we will definitely reach out to you. If you're struggling, we'll look for the resources to connect you with, and if it's a topic you want talked about, fuck it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, always you can stop by the Zoo Facebook page that we got going on. We just started an Instagram today. I don't know if you can send messages on there, but I'm kind of new to the whole Instagram experience. But just any way you guys can, let us know what's going on. I know the podcast today is a little rudimentary. We don't have video yet. Like Chance said, we're running everything out of our pocket. I got like fucking 30 cents to my name until the 1st. So we're trying to get everything going we can here, but we really wanted to move forward and get this going. So sorry for the quality, I guess, of the stream. I know Chase was cutting out a little bit there, Chance was cutting out a little bit there, but we'll get it ironed out. And
motherfucker.
I got a really good friend named Chase, so it's a little throw it in between there. It might happen.
You haven't been to mountains, so elevate your fucking feet, you.
So let us know what you guys think, please. Like Chance, or God damn it, Chance said, any topics you guys want to think of? I really think the medical marijuana is going to be a good topic. I've got some close friends that were on all kinds of meds that are really benefiting from it, and I've got some people that are, really disagree with the idea of it as well. So I want to get on that topic with some people who are maybe a little more educated in it than I am, but I definitely want to ring in on the topic as well.
So before we end, I want to just end with this. Like I said, the zoo is probably going to be a evolving evolution of an entity. It's going to become what it needs to be in time. But the mission, I'll just read what you wrote site originally. Welcome to the zoo. Our focus is to create a community among those separated from service.
Yeah, you're tearing up pretty bad.
All right.
I don't know if you can move closer to your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's bad service in this shitty apartment.
There you go. It sounds like it's better. You gotta go.
So our focus is a community to create a community among veterans who have recently separated from service, as well as service members still on active duty. Our goal is to continue to strengthen our bond and to learn from each other's experiences, and in doing so, to develop a support base for other. Brotherhood never dies, and we need to look out for our own. So at the core of what this is, that is it.
Yeah, and that I would love for us to, or at least I'm hoping this reaches as many people as as it can. I'm not sure how therapeutic some people are going to find this. Even in starting to just get some of the blogs going when I first had started the zoo and it wasn't moving towards the podcast, I felt a lot of relief from people writing things and reading it, and I still do finding it, and I'm just hoping this is another outlet for people to relate. And hey, you guys aren't alone out there. If you're doing fucking great, keep hard charging, keep doing great things. If you guys are struggling, tune in. If you're not struggling, tune in, but make sure that we're looking out for everyone. That's my main goal with this whole thing. I want to, just keep the brotherhood alive.
And I'm fucking set with that, man. That was good.
Yeah. All right, you guys take it easy. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoy it. Another podcast soon to return. Chance, thanks for coming on. It's going to be me and Chance hosting. With whoever else we bring on as guests. So thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Dunsky.
All right, hey guys, welcome to the First Zoo podcast. After a lot of trials and tribulations of figuring it out, we got a pretty rudimentary setup. But I'm Doc J. I'm here with Chance. And Chance, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Background. So prior to the mill, I did a year of college. Just decided that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. Met a guy in Target, and he had a Ranger tab. It was just squared away posture, and sat down with him for a few minutes, and basically 2 weeks later, it shipped out for the military. Had no clue what I wanted to do. Did kind of an eeny, meeny, miny, mo when it came to picking a job, and somehow landed combat medic. No clue what that meant. Went to basic training. You didn't just have to yell at people and be angry to get things done and get people that were working for you to work with you. So from there, finished Stockholm, and that's where I really gained a passion for medicine. Before, it was like I felt like I would kill somebody if I went to render aid or treatment.
Yeah, from the basic Army medic school you go to, you just enough to kill somebody.
Yeah, had no clue what I was doing. So I got to Stockholm and really just, gained a lot of good friends in the SEAL community and the SF community, and really learned what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. And, at that point, you train so diligently and so thoroughly that when you actually go to provide aid, whether it was in the hospital rotations or on deployment, like you see the impact that you had in past SOCM, like whether they treated casualties or not. I knew that they, based on their assessment and their training, could perform at the highest level. So got back from that deployment, did another training cycle, went through a tough time with marriage, whatnot. And that's kind of the reason I got out of battalion. Did another deployment, fucking badass mission. It was an awesome deployment. And just was around some stellar guys. And then fast forward, left the military because my wife gave me the ultimatum. Separated 6 months later, divorced a year later, and ended up back overseas contracting. And I don't know what the fuck PTSD really is, but since leaving, I've kind of had my fair share of issues and trying to figure that out. And that's kind of what the zoo I felt like would be good for. It found out that I had a tiny little black heart and loved to work out and loved the military. And they offered me a Ranger contract because I had the top PT score in my company. So it was like, sweet, I just want to be around the fewest amount of guys possible that were the most driven. So from there, went on, went through my job school, went through airborne school, got to Ranger NDOC, finished that. Then there was a big holdover for the Special Operations Medical course. Went to Ranger school, finished that, got back to battalion. Kind of got hated on for being this cherry, no deployment, no training cycle, Ranger tab specialist. From there, it was great. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot about leadership, so I gained a big passion for my job at that point. Coming to battalion, the previous senior medic before me was getting ready to leave, so it was like, here you go. Take over senior medic spot. Roger.
Yeah, standard.
So, yeah. So jumped in that and just kind of hit the ball running. Like I loved everything the battalion stood for, setting the standard by every day earning your keep. You don't just get your tab and then you can be a shitbag. It was wake up and fucking perform to standard every single day. And I enjoyed that.
Yeah, or get our fest.
Yeah. Like perform or get out. So went on my first deployment. Love that. Had a couple junior medics that I was training up, and they were stellar. Just everybody in the Ranger community that, especially the medics that passed Ranger NDOC